Ready? So my name is Allan. I've done DevOps for quite a few years. That's why I'm here talking to you. I was actually one of the Paradise participants in Lars's study. And I should mention that I do my talks based on practical experiences. I'm not a researcher, although I've done a few scientific co-authoring of papers on DevOps. So who can tell me what this is? Shout it out. Exactly. Build, measure, learn, the scientific method. What do we use it for? We use it to measure our production systems, what's going on there, so we can be scientific in improving the experience for the user and turning happy users into money. So that's one feedback loop we have that's very, very important in DevOps. This is not what I'm talking about today. We also have other feedback loops where we listen to our servers in the cloud. We have all kinds of logs. We have metrics, we have CI servers giving us automated test feedback loops. These are also not the feedback loops I'm talking about today. So the feedback loops I'm talking about today is in the build process of the build, measure, learn. What does it feel like to be a human in there, going to meetings, writing code? What's it like in there as a person? So it's really hard to measure these kind of things, because it's a complex adaptive system. So complex adaptive systems have the thing where when you do a change, it's impossible to see what happens from that change. You can't predict it. As an example, as Lars mentioned, we removed QAs completely at my previous job where I was CTO, and the quality went up. Not just a little, it went up a lot. It's highly surprising. So we didn't expect that. We expected it to go down a little and us to move faster. So shout out, what do we do with this kind of complex adaptive system? How do we make it better? Anybody have ideas? It's coming. The answer? Experiments. We need to do a small change, and then we need to see what happens. We need to do another small change and see what happens. And do experiments in fast iterations. And these iterations, when we're doing changes to our software development process, can lead to very, very happy people, to very, very frustrated people. And it's really hard to measure what it feels like to be subjected to a change. It can be something as simple as moving the time of stand-up, and then one person can't do stuff. So I want to make this a thing: experiment, measure, learn, for the software development process. And my talk today is about this measure, this feedback loop on the software development process. I'm going to give you 3 things you can do, very simple things. The first is stand up. I hope you're already doing it. It's a simple thing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but you can get a feeling of how people are feeling on your team from stand up. Invite others to participate in stand up for other teams. Go to other teams' stand ups. Hands up if you're having a regular one-on-one with your manager once every 1 week or every 2 weeks. So it's about 25%. For those of you who didn't have your hand up, I would suggest you do an experiment with your manager and tell him or her that you would like to do regular stand-ups for regular one-on-ones for 2 months. If your manager does not want to do that, or if that turns out to be a failure, my suggestion would be to find a new boss and a new job who actually cares about you, because not doing regular one-on-ones with your direct reports is like running a production server without any logs. You don't do it. You need that feedback loop. So that was the second item. The third item is retrospectives. In Tien's talk, there were some problems he had about culture. They fixed that by retrospectives, getting the feedback. Retrospectives are a very, very good way of getting the feedback on what it feels like to be in the development process you have, and do them highly structured. Make sure everybody gets heard. A good retrospective is 60 to 90 minutes, and you put in the effort to make sure that you have a good structure around it. And also, don't just do a retrospective with the development team. Do a retrospective with marketing, with the QAs, with other people involved in the software development process. You can do them ad hoc as you spot people who are frustrated with the development process. So these were the 3 things: stand-ups, regular one-on-ones with your boss, and retrospectives. It might be banal. You might have heard of all of this before, but to me, these three things have been instrumental in having huge success in introducing DevOps to places I've worked. That was it.